I welcome you to this lecture. My name is Ssebuyungo Wilber, Kivekayunga. I'm a lecturer at Nkumba University. This course unit is local languages in primary school. Local languages in primary schools. So here, we intend that the teacher masters the local language in the community of deployment, and the teacher is able to use the local language to instruct learners and cause learning. Remember that learning is not only in the English language. Chinese learn in Chinese, those in France learn in French. Even in Uganda, your learners can learn from you within their local languages, or causing a blend between your language and the English language and the language of the community in which you are. So when you're deployed in a community where the language being used by learners is not the language that you know, then how possibly can you teach in that community? We would not want the teacher to be limited in teaching, but the teacher should also be able to work in various communities involving the use of various languages. So learners are received from communities when they even know the things that we teach them. For example, a learner comes to a classroom from a community when he knows that this is water, but in the local language, that is known in the local language, or it is known in the mother tongue. So teaching the learner that it is water does not mean that you have caused actually that learning. It is actually causing a change of language other than causing learning. So learning is not just language, the English language, but we can ride on the local language to instruct learning. What do we call a local language? Many people have said this is bad, and that the word local means what is generally not good or poor quality in most of our communities. However, the word local means what is indigenous, what originates from our communities. So a cow in Mbale, in Kyegegwa, in Soroti, a cow in Wakiso, if it is picked and taken to the UK, to Europe, it is exotic there. And when we speak our language in Europe or in the US, it is not local there. It is local because it belongs to our communities here. So not all things that are in our communities are generally bad or poor quality. Actually, most of the things we have are of good quality. It is the perspective that we have behind them. The word language means a blend of sounds with meaning to describe how things are, to describe people, to describe situations, positions, time, and other things. So a language is a sound. You can sound a cup one way, or can sound a cup in another language. A cow, inkafu, the other person can call it ente, the other one calls it another word. So it is about cow. It is the sound that is changing. The material that you're trying to describe remains the same. So a local language is a language that belongs to our community and has an origin from our community. Now, we have also another called national language. A national language is a language that has been accepted by the community to be used as the language of the nation. So far in Uganda, it is Swahili, the national language. If the government changes the policy of the national language, then we can have another language that can come up. So usually a national language can be among the local languages, or a national language can also be spelled according to what the government can prefer as the language to be used. Then we also have what we call a vernacular language. Usually in our communities, people think vernacular means a language that has been prohibited from use. However, vernacular means a language that is commonly used, a language that is commonly used in the community. So when you go in the community and you find that among all languages, then people select that language to be used. So Gishu has very many dialects that when you check the dialects, among the dialects, then Gishu has, there is that Gishu that is generally spoken and everybody of various dialects can hear. Even Busoga has, then even Buganda, the West, and other parts of the country in the north. So that is a vernacular language. However, vernacular language can also be a national language. So to develop a national language or to develop the use of local languages in schools, then identify the local languages in your communities. That's the first step. Then appreciate those local languages. When you don't appreciate, the local languages depreciate. Then learn the alphabet of the local language. Learn the keywords or the basic keywords in the local language. Then afterwards, you need to actually give space to learners to express their views in their local language. Balance the local language with the language of instruction. For example, here we have the English language as the language of instruction in Uganda, and then the local language, you can write on it. Balance between the two. Then eliminate doubt due to local language use, or you can find that learners actually try to avoid using their local languages because they will appear to be small in the community, they appear to be humiliated. So eliminate all the doubt from learners and promote belongingness to a local language. Create clubs which promote the use of local languages. Have speeches in local languages. Respect the writing rules of and the syntax of the local language. Many times when we make errors in the local language, does not bring concern to many people. So our local languages end up not adopting the right spellings, the right pronunciations, because no one is concerned. Allow stakeholders to use the local language within the school without mixing or messing it up. As you're speaking your local language, Gishu, speaking Nyankole, Ruchiga, you're speaking Luganda, you're speaking Rugubal, you're speaking your local language, don't mix it with another language. Please remain on course using this local language. Just in case there is a difficult word, that's when you can borrow from another language, but make sure that you learn to practice using the local language in another before you actually go to teach, so that you're consistent in the local language and you can guide people to consistently use the local language. Actually, local languages have a wide pool of vocabularies that we actually need to unearth. The other way of developing local language is you drive local language through music, dance, and drama. Let us have music, dance, and drama, and also use poetry, use riddles, proverbs, and stories in the local language. Translate and interpret words from English to the local language, and from the local language back to the English language or the language of instruction in any of your country or parts of the country. I would like to advise that in advancing a local language, we have some concepts here. To advance a local language, then you need to master what we call synonyms. Synonyms are alternative words that mean the very words you'll be speaking, and therefore having synonyms is very key in developing a local language and advancing it. There are also acronyms and also anonyms. So you also need to master that there are acronyms, which are abbreviations of words in your local language, and promote them in the learning process. You need to build new words in the local language. For example, words such as wind, you can translate. Storm, you can translate possibly. Oxygen, you may start struggling. Nitrogen, you may say, I don't have the word for that. But those words are either created there, they are local language dictionaries, so learners can start unearthing these words and start using them to build up vocabulary. And where words are not there, then possibly you actually need to 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 to, to build them up. The strands of a language can be built up, and therefore you can be able to cope up with the dictionary, the local dictionary of the language. So you can contribute to the development of the local language in your community, and therefore you need to set strategies for developing the local language in your community. We have looked at ways of you, you have you have been able to see the process within which a teacher can promote local languages. And then, treasuring the local language, you need to find the correctness of the local language, clarity in the local language, completeness in the local language, make it concise, make the local language courteous, let it appear appealing to the population. So this detail, you are going to find it there. You can take a minute to review this. Then you also need to make sure that you're considerate in using the local language, because not all the members in the community where you're teaching are actually familiar with the local language. So you need to actually find out whether people are getting the concepts that you're deliberating using the local language in that community. Be consistent also in using the local language. So I would like to leave you with a space of time to actually identify what we call the mother tongue. What do we actually call a mother tongue? And how do we help learners who come with their mother tongue and they have joined classes which are like primary one or elementary class one, and they are there with us. So you set strategies on how to develop vocabulary of the local language, and how to develop concepts within the local language. The details, you can find them on Kumba University e-learning environment. My name is Ssebuyungo.